Okay, this is part two of a video I posted. It was titled Christians Stay Connected, or it may have been titled Teach the Algorithm. And in those videos, it was just basically saying, I don't agree with the fact that Christians are supposed to disconnect from social media or disconnect from the news. Now, this is the part two of it on why I truly don't agree with that. The other video, it pointed some things out, but let's get to the root of where that true ideology comes from, or my true belief that you don't disconnect. And that is, Christians cannot be the ignorant people on the earth. And that's what it turns into. It turns into very cult adjacent, as in, no, pull back. Make sure you don't get involved. Make sure you don't watch that. Watch all these things, which puts us in a state of being the people of Juneteenth. Why do I use that example? There was Independence Day and then there's Juneteenth. What's the difference? There was a whole group of people who understood independence, but there was another group that had no idea they had been set free until Juneteenth, what we call Juneteenth now. And why was that? They were so disconnected and off the air quote grid, not by choice, but that was just a circumstance, that they had no idea. Now we're in a day and age where people are selecting to be disconnected and not know what's going on. That falls in line with what I heard someone else say, and that was Christians are the scariest group of people on this earth. Although we proclaim that we don't have the spirit of fear, God didn't give that to us. Fear is torment. We can quote the scriptures. However, we're scary at our core. Scary as in, I can't watch that movie. I can't go there. I can't have that conversation. I can't read that. I want to be clear. I'm not talking about making that your full diet day in and day out, right? No one can do that. There is nothing in life that can end up being a healthy idea when that is your constant diet. However, there is this thing called balance, okay? Balance as in a little bit of this, a little bit of that. But to fully disconnect, and a lot of it is based in fear. You're afraid of what you're going to hear is going to mess up your head so much. You're afraid of what you see is going to send you off to the fiery hell. You're afraid of wherever you go is going to have God so mad at you, he's going to strike you down. What God are you growing your relationship with? And now it's time to question, how are you growing your relationship with God? Are you doing it based on old school, which I keep using the same phrase, which is the after effects of slavery, meaning what the slave masters taught us is how we behave, as in, we learned religion from them from a fear point of view, because that was their way of controlling us. However, we did not learn from a love point of view, as in, I want to draw to God because I love him and he loves me. And I want to know more about that love. I want to become more entrenched in that love, as opposed to, I'm going to serve God because I'm so afraid of him that I couldn't think of nothing else. If I look this way, he's going to strike me down. If I do that, he's going to strike me down. We have turned God into this ogre, and then on the same breath say we want to draw people toward him. How many people do you know who would be happy and jumping over bridges to get to know someone who is threatening to hurt them at every turn? I'll wait. None. But back to how this video started. When we are in the mindset of so busy disconnecting and staying away because, oh my gosh, it's going to damage my soul, damage my heart, that is a level of fear, because you're not trusting God to keep you. You build your relationship with God, he will keep you. Again, it's not saying to make that your steady diet, but it's saying that as you navigate this world, you can encounter things that ain't going to throw you all the way off. Because you have a God that you can go and hide in him. You can have that communication with him. You can have your mind regulated by him and be able to watch things, see things, and it rolls right off your back like water off a duck. So no, don't disconnect. Ask God to help you balance that out. Because when all is said and done, how are you going to reach other people if you are so disconnected that you are irrelevant? As in, we're supposed to go out and draw people to God. How are you going to do that if you can't even have a conversation on their same level? You have zero idea of what they know. Yes, I know Christ and him crucified. Okay, how far are those conversations going for you? As opposed to you get into a conversation with someone, you're talking about today's topics, what's happening, and somewhere in there you manage to add, wow, in the middle of everything going on, I don't know what I would do without God in my life. I don't know. I would lose my mind. And that begins a whole different conversation on how God is the one that can get you through all these things. That is your testimony. Not that I was hiding back in the room, closing all the doors, turning off the lights, turning off my social media so I can stay so hot, so hid away that God can talk to me and God can't talk to you another time. Again, it is for us to face these challenges and understand, yes, we're in this world, not of it, but we have to navigate and occupy until he comes. So again, you don't want to disconnect, you want to be informed. And the test is, I'm going to throw out a couple of words and you tell me if you know what I'm talking about. Groyper, incel, leftist. If you have no idea what I just said, that speaks volumes to the fact that there's things going on around you that you do need to be aware of. And it's not for you to turn into, oh gosh, this is the end. It is for you just to be informed and understand there is a full world around me. And for me to have knowledge of what's happening is important. And if for no other reason, I know how to pray. I know what to pray for. You're not disconnected. How do you even know how to pray? Yes, you can say, oh Lord, bless the world. But there are some things that you can call out and call forth because you have a knowledge of what's happening. All right, so again, don't disconnect. Stay connected. Teach the algorithm and be relevant so you can have those conversations that help other people understand the importance and the value of a relationship in God. And also, so you can make sure you know how to pray.